And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. How we doing? How we doing? Come on over to what is, I suppose, our first news update video on what we're doing over here in 25-8 games and our first game that we're working on, Kronoseum. We got 3 really cool things to show in these early stages of development. We're going to be showing the progress on Ashen Crossroads, our first battlegrounds. Also, one of our first characters finally coming from 2D paper into the 3D world. So excited to show you guys these first steps we're taking in that regard. And we're also going to be showing the first skins that we're working on for the Kickstarter exclusive rewards that you guys voted on. So we got a lot to go over today, and maybe a teaser as to what's to come in the future. But before we get to any of that, again, just want to give you guys a big thank you. It's been 1 week since the initial announcement of Kronoseum that was made to the world on my main channel, OddleT101. And in the first week alone, we're nearly at 3,500 followers, which is absolutely insane in the first week, and we're still in development. Thank you guys so much. And of course, thank you as well for subscribing to the 25-8 Games channel, watching the first video that I put out in this channel. I'm looking forward to doing more of these, news update videos. Of course, some weeks, more stuff's going to be done than other weeks, but still, I want you guys to know, what are we doing, what's going on, so you can see the progress, and especially, not a lot of people get to see how the sausage is made for video games. You see the end product. What about all the steps to get there? And that's what this whole channel is dedicated towards, so you can follow the journey of Kronoseum. As a reminder, if you haven't already, there's a link down below to the Kronoseum Kickstarter page. Please, just following it helps out so much, completely free to follow, and it shows the world. And when we talk to publishers, that, hey, people want to see not just this VR game to come to life, they want to see Kronoseum come to life. So thank you as well. And if this is your first time watching, well, all the video contents is here if you want to learn more about Kronoseum, as well as the details of the game. But what I want to talk about, what are these developers working on this week? So let's get to it. First thing I want to talk about is what Andrew Parker Murphy has been working on. So in the initial announcement, and maybe if you guys want, just understand it'd be like super duper early, concept art stuff to kind of get the feel of the world. I showed like a little sneak peek in my announcement video that gives you the feel, the weight of the world, not just for Kronoseum, but the first map that we're working on, Ashen Crossroads, which, as a summary, it's the violent fusion of the ancient ruins of Rome, kind of collapsing into some sort of post-nuclear fallout of a modern-day metropolis. Well, you're going to be seeing this world come to life a bit more. This is, I guess I'll be honest with you guys, there's actually versions before this that are super, super blocked out. And again, if you guys want, I'll show it to you. A lot of students are so scared to show early stuff because they're like, trash this, trash that. But this is just showing you, this is the start of where we are and where we're going. It's only going to get better. That's how games are. You work in increments. So what I want to show is basically the progress that we're making because there are some things that Andrew Parker had to do with Ashen Crossroads, because this was a loose concept layout that was actually, when I first was kind of putting my ideas into action, I reached out to Kevroon. They're the ones who helped me kind of draft these first characters I have. They also helped me kind of take my ideas of the maps and kind of bring it to life, and then I'd pass it over to developers internally like Ricardo and like Andrew Parker Murphy to start, fine-tuning it and bringing it to full fruition. And with that initial concept art that you're seeing right here of Ashen Crossroads, the big thing that we have to address first, there are a lot of basically gaps, vertices. Let me tell you, I don't know much about the technology aspect of this, of how to make games. That's why I bring in people that know how to do this. I'm kind of bringing it to you more as, I guess, someone kind of learning about all these nooks and crannies of what does an artist go through for the first time. So it's not just a learning experience for you guys to see how things are made. Even for me, I'm learning so much about what these developers do, because let me tell you, I'm lucky that I know how to restart a computer or draw a stick person, and that's why we need some legendary talent over here to bring this to life. But this just goes to show you, so this version that you saw of the map, again, it's mostly, this was meant for like quick concepting. Let's get the ideas down. We don't need to have everything super high polished and fine-tuned. We could do that afterwards. So there's a lot of stuff in this map before it's able to be used for the proof of concept, the demo, the trailer that we have planned for early 2026, even for the larger future where this is going to be something you guys can play in. All this has to be, repaired, redone. Not every single asset needed to go through this, but there was, I think you said about 20-25% of the assets that needed to be repaired. Like here we go. You can see we have some of these statues over here. You can see these missing gaps, right? Even this, you can see we have missing gaps there. And over here, I believe this was run through Maya, where you can see these dots, and that means those aspects need to be repaired. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be repaired with these maps. So Andrew Parker Murphy is making some good progress. Here's some, again, we're still in the early stages of it all, but here's the map coming to life, and you can see the fracture energy cracks starting to come to life for the first time. So there's a bit more motion going on, whereas in that first early concept I showed, it was very static, right? So we're seeing the world's, the heartbeat of the fracture come to life. So really cool to see that. We have some other angles here. Again, polishing up things inside of Unreal Engine. I'm pretty sure I mentioned before, this is going to be made in Unreal Engine, so you can start seeing things come to life a bit more. Again, super early. Obviously, all the lighting's not done, the texturing and whatnot, and a lot of work to be done. But again, kind of repolishing, repurposing, rebuilding some of those assets that need to be done from that early concept stage to something that's a bit more playable, a bit more demoable, I think is another way of putting it. I think I have another screenshot here. Yeah, here's another angle that you can see for Ash and Crossroads on top of it. So again, we still has a bit more work, because before we can, start having these characters battling it out, kind of showing what their abilities can do, making the trailer and video, the environment's got to get fixed up. So that's in Andrew Parker's wheelhouse on what he has been doing for the past week or so here at 25-8 Games and the progress since, the first video that we put out. Now, let's talk about what Ricardo has been up to. So Ricardo is kind of more of, he's leading the overall art direction of this game, and he's focusing on, right now, the character aspect of it all. And the first thing that he's been working on, besides that storyboard that I think I showed you a while ago, we should probably go over that storyboard and kind of talk about the overall idea that we're trying to hit in this first announcement. Maybe we'll talk more about that next week. He's taking care of the character side of the 3D art for the moment, and this is so exciting, especially many, many months ago when I was coming up with the idea of Kronoseum, and there was actually an idea before Kronoseum that eventually ended up being Kronoseum. But it's so cool. The first ideas that I had for these characters, yes, it goes from idea to initial sketches to then kind of splash screen stuff, and now it's finally getting really, really real. Where we're jumping off the page and turning into 3D. So before I show it to you, let me give you context as to what stage we are in right now. Here are the exact notes from Ricardo as to what stage we're at right now. This is going to be the blockout. So just kind of like the first, rough blockout here, very early in the process still. But now that everything's sort of, blocked out, essentially now what he's going to do, he's going to get in there, really kind of carve all the finer details. And now he's going to refine them. And then what do you say here? Yeah, now I'll refine each element and take them into ZBrush to make them the high polygon model. So here it is, my friends. Look at that. Barricade. Again, this is a rough block out. You got to get the rough block out before you can start chiseling in the finer details and getting the high poly model. So again, you still got a couple more steps to go before he's in his full final 3D form, but it's so cool going to idea to paper to 2D. And now look at him. He's jumping off the page, and even though he's got a lot more work to go through, so cool to see Barricade come to life for the very first time. And man, it just, again, imagine what it's going to look like with even more polygons, more detail. And then finally, and this is going to be kind of a teaser for what's to come for Kronoseum and what we're doing over here at 25-8 Games, seeing him actually do what's been up here the whole time and finally showing it in action. Dude, super stoked about that. So that's update number 2 that we have. And update number 3 is in regards, to you guys out there. I want to thank you guys so much for participating. And in case you guys don't know, there's a link especially. I'll leave a link down below, but if you click on this little graphic right here, jumps to all the social media stuff, the merch, all that great stuff that you can find. There's a Kronoseum Discord server where if you want more, I guess I'm in there. I usually try to appear once a day, kind of check what you guys are doing. Then sometimes you get like midweek updates on what we're doing, or questions that I have for you guys. And one of those things were, ask you guys to help out with this early beta test for the Council of Heroes, which is planned to be a Kickstarter exclusive reward to let people get even more involved with the game and be able to kind of vote on things like, for example, character skins, maybe ways to kind of influence how maybe the character designs look like, maybe maps and stuff like that. So again, we're working on the details, but we want to kind of figure out, all right, what does it look like? Because not a lot of studios do this. We're like, hey, what do you guys like out of these? And giving you guys a vote. And first test was so much fun. This first test, as I said, was only to test out kind of going through a cycle of, creating a Kickstarter skin. What do you guys want to see? And I'm going to show you guys the final votes that we went through, but let's actually just go to it. No buts. No ifs, ands, buts, no coconuts. So we first started off with kind of like an open survey, everyone kind of submitting their ideas, and then I was like, all right, let's see if we can find common themes, and there were so many awesome ideas, and who knows, maybe we can revisit those down the road. This Kickstarter aspect for the rewards is kind of meant to be again, more celebratory, something really cool, unique. It's showing us as a community coming together for the first time and, bringing Kronoseum to life. Everyone's playing a role here, whether you're just watching this video, you're liking the video, following the Kickstarter, or going all the way to developers actually making it. It's a communal effort to bring this game to reality here. And what we have for the winning votes out of the 6 topics, ideas that I kind of saw common themes, The 3 top votes were battle-worn legends. So think of like battle damage, Iron Man, Vader, General Grievous, something like that. The Celestial Council Celebration was the number 1 vote. So that's also going to be in our top 3 that were selected. And then the other one's Ghosts of the Past, which is going to be interesting. Maybe people are kind of in a spooky mood because it's the October Halloween season. Basically, as we're going to talk about, the inspiration I'm going to use for that, I think of like Nazgul, Dementors, what's that, Undead Knight from, was it WoW, I believe, something like that. So that's kind of the direction that we're going to be running. But those are going to be the top 3 winners. And essentially what I'm doing now, just started communication with Keveru, who's going to be our outsourced art studio partner team. And they're going to start taking those ideas and start, drafting up what these skins would look like. And we got a little early sneak peek as to one of the characters playing around with one of the themes. So let's get a drum roll, please. All right, okay, yeah, whatever. Let's just get to it. Here we go. So again, super early. Again, Barricade. Man, Barricade getting all the love in this week's update here. So this is obviously Barricade's base level skin, and this is showing, okay, here's an idea of what the Celestial Council Celebration might look like. And I think I have some of the descriptions here. Yeah, godlike trimmed robes, eclipse motives. So again, looking like you're fit to rule the Kronoseum, and it's also kind of a celebratory thing. So again, this is kind of like the first doodles of it all, and we're going to kind of take this similar theme and apply it to Hoshiryu as well as Valeria, and then we can kind of see kind of as a set what they look like. And at the end of it all, at the end of it all, speaking's very hard, my friends. I don't know how I've made it this far, let me tell you. And at the end of it all, once we have these 3 sets of skins to show you guys, from the Celestial Council Celebration to Ghosts of the Past, as well as the battle damage variants, there will be one more final vote that you guys would take on, and it'll ultimately decide what's going to be the Kickstarter exclusive giveaway. So, you guys, we're not done yet the Council of Heroes beta test. So, again, don't hold me to the fire for it, but we're looking at probably about a month to have all these initial concept sketches done, and then the winner will take it a little bit further, put a bit more detail, and then, that's going to be the one that ends up on Kickstarter. So, that's overall what we've been doing here, at least the stuff I could show right now and talk about here for Kronoseum. I'll give you a little bit of a teaser as to what's to come. Essentially, the team that we have, especially the core team, right now, we got the artists on board, right? We need to get the art going in order to, we'll start using the art assets to make the game, right? So what you're going to probably be seeing the next, I would say 2 weeks, I might be able to make an announcement next week, dotting the T's and crossing the I's, as I like to say. That's just an old joke I kind of run with. Probably by next week, I'll be able to announce a new member that's coming to the 25-8 Games team, and this is the guy that's going to be bridging the technical aspect of the game, the art, the gameplay. So essentially a technical designer, essentially taking things like Barricade and making them actually do stuff inside of Unreal Engine. What does it look like when Barricade's throwing his shield, perhaps? Or Valeria is going to be casting portals. Hoshiryu is going to honestly be, I will tell you this in advance, it's probably going to be the one that's going to be the most challenging to balance because, well, you're going against 2 ranged guys, and melee units need to get up close and personal, so we have a lot of cool ideas to make sure Hoshiryu, he's able to be competitive with these other 2 guys. And of course, I'm excited to show you guys the progression of the kit developments too, because I think day 1 kit, when we first come up, it's going to be a lot different than the version that you're going to end up playing yourselves down the road. So, people, really exciting stuff. These first steps, and as I said, some weeks are going to be more news, some weeks maybe not as much. That's just the nature of game development cycles. Some things take a lot more time to work on, and then some days are going to be super explosive. But nonetheless, I want you guys to see what we've been doing over here at Kronoseum so you can see that progress. Thank you again so much for standing by, hanging out with me over here. As always, if you haven't already, check out the Kickstarter page. Please just hit notify. Super duper helpful. You can find the other links to the Discord server, the YouTube channel, and I guess maybe I should mention this quickly. If you guys are cool, and I'm saving the Kronoseum YouTube channel more for like super like official stuff. This is more of the casual side here on 25-8 Games, behind the scenes type of stuff. If you guys are okay with it, I'll be happy releasing like the full song that we're kind of working with for Ashen Crossroads, even Sakura Gulch. And keep in mind, Sakura Gulch is not going to be happening anytime soon, but I have the music built out already that I would love to use. So if you guys are cool, just even in this early concept stage, getting the music so you can listen to it or seeing the concept art in the Kronoseum channel, let me know. If you guys are cool with it. If you guys want like the super final stuff, then we can wait till Ashen Crossroads is in a more polished state or something like that. But if you guys like getting those updates, and maybe if you guys want, again, As long as you guys understand that this is not the final look, I'll release the full, I think it's 5 minutes of, getting the full world and what the overall layout's going to look like. And eventually, hint, hint, when we get a gameplay designer, we're probably going to massage this map a little bit. So, again, it's not even final from a gameplay perspective, too. So, as long as we understand it's not final, I want to share as much as possible with you guys. Man, I love that skyline, the Kronoseum, the skyscrapers. Oh, I can't wait to finally put the VR headset on and actually play in it with Barricade and all these other fantastic people just like you guys. So, again, that we're doing we're doing the Italian goodbye. I can't remember how it goes. We're saying 5 million goodbyes here. Thank you again. Follow the page, like this video, it really does help, and subscribe so you can follow the journey of 25-8 Games and Kronoseum. And until we meet again, always remember, it's great to be in the Kronoseum today.